Yo YouTube, it's Tate Takes. We back at it again with another video. This one is going to be on the Leon and Usman fight, right? And the UFC, right? I'm gonna start off by saying this fight was unbelievable. UFC, this is the type of fights that they want to showcase and the fights that they want everybody to see, right? You can be losing a fight for 4 rounds, in this case 4 rounds in 4 minutes, and then in the last second or the last minute you can be back in the fight and you can ultimately win the fight, which is what Leon pulled off in this fight over the weekend. That's exactly what Leon did. He was being dominated virtually the whole fight. I mean, probably losing 3-1 at that point as far as rounds. And then Usman was just able to, Leon was just able to hit him with a perfect technique, leg kick to the head, you know what I'm saying, square on the fucking jaw, on the, like, just perfect technique hit, man. He couldn't have hit him in a better place. He couldn't have, it was just the perfect kick. Like, it was the perfect kick, man. That shit was crazy. But nonetheless, like I said, this is what the UFC wants to see. This is what the UFC fans wants to see. And the UFC is just such an exciting sport to watch. You know what I'm saying? It's much more exciting than boxing. You know why? Because they let the best go against the best. Nobody's cradling or coddling the top fighters and then, you know what I mean, going about it that way to make their money and just trying to, you know what I mean, just keep this fighter alive. You know what I mean? Keep this fighter in a place where he can just dominate his entire career and have a career like Floyd Mayweather. No, they're fighting the best against the best, and ultimately this is how you get the best fights. And this is why UFC is so much more exciting than boxing, because boxing is just the integrity of the game is just, it's fucked up. You know what I mean? To keep it all the way a buck, it's just fucked up. So, but UFC, man, super duper exciting. Boxing, you know, you only can use your hands. UFC, it's just pretty much anything goes. It is a couple things you can't do. I think one of them being headbutting. Cause I'm not all the way up to date on the UFC stuff. I don't really watch UFC that much, but it is the interest. My interest is definitely growing in the sport, and I am a fan of it as of today, as of right now, and for like maybe like the past year or so. I mean, it's not like, oh, I'm up on all of the fights that's coming around, like Leon and Usman. I didn't know anything about this fight until, you know what I mean, I seen it maybe afterwards. But I'm not one of those guys that's ordering a pay-per-view for UFC. But you know what I mean, like going forward, I expect to be one of them people though. You know what I mean, as I grow to like the sport more and maybe even love the sport one day, like I do with football and basketball, or basketball and football. Shall I put it in that order? Because basketball is my, you know what I mean, my favorite sport. But man, the UFC is in great hands with Dana White. That's another thing. So I expect the UFC to continue to grow. I expect the UFC to just be one of the elites when it comes to sports. You know what I mean? Like one day UFC can definitely pass basketball and football in such as popularity and just, you know what I mean, just making and producing money. I don't know if they will, but it's very possible just off the near fact of how exciting it is to watch an MMA fight. Sometimes, you know, it can be boring, just like boxing. Sometimes fights can be boring, but sometimes you're going to have fights like last night, which is one of the greatest fights, title fights ever. May not have been as exciting, you know, throughout the entire fight, where it's just them going at it the entire night. But most of the times you're not going to get that with a wrestler. You know what I mean? You're not going to get that with a guy that's not trying to throw strikes at you the entire fight. Or a guy that's trying to, I mean, it's just, you listen, I'm going to end it on this note. UFC is, my take on it is that wasn't as exciting into the fight, right? My take on it is it was exciting into the fight. The UFC is in good hands with Dana White. The UFC will continue to grow as time goes on. And I'm falling in love with the sport as I go on. Every fight, every day, I'm looking at it more and more, and I expect UFC, like I said, to do great things. It's Takes, man. You hear the sirens in the background. I'm gonna end it on this note. Let's get out of here.